Conspiracies galore, y'all. That's what I got for you right now. Conspiracies galore. So as you all know, the Trump shooting went down. We've covered every single detail of it, but let me get into the darker side of the internet here. Now, look, I'm going to walk you through this. Some of the things, as you'll see, are more reasonable than others, right? You have some conspiracy theories that are just fucking bonkers. You have other ones that seem kind of intuitively plausible. And some of these things that I'll give you are just facts, right? Like some of these things are like, whoa, that's a wild fact. But I'm going to share it with you here in this segment. So let's start with some low-hanging fruit. The shooter who attempted to kill Donald Trump was, quote, a Chinese man. This is I don't know, this is like I think it's like a Polish news site that people use all the time. Actually, I don't know if it's Polish or something from that general area, one of those countries over there. They came out like immediately after the Trump shooting, like within 2 hours, and was like, the Chinese. Well, as you can see here, not true. The shooter, Thomas Matthew Crooks, was identified as a white male in their 20s by the FBI. Okay. So again, low-hanging fruit. The Chinese were blamed immediately. Now, let's get to this one. So I'm going to show you a video here. People are really picking apart the reaction by the FBI and law enforcement officials to the Trump shooting. They're picking it apart and, kind of analyzing it like the Zapruder film. And it is kind of like the Zapruder film, right? In the Zapruder film, JFK got his head blown off. In this instance, Trump almost got his head blown off. But I think people are also maybe reading in too much and pretending like they have expertise they don't, and not understanding that in the moment, it's chaos, right? It's chaos. There's so many moving pieces and moving parts. You got a lot of people making a lot of noise, a lot of people trying to figure out what the hell is going on. You might have a crisis of leadership and that it's really not all that centralized and there's not one voice who's calling the shots and making decisive calls, right? And so here you have, these are the counter snipers who ended up killing him. And let's see this.
That's when I left office. That was the lowest point, and that comes right from the government services, comes right out of Border Patrol. Take a look at that. So that arrow is the lowest amount of illegal immigration.
So it says on screen, already looking down the scope 42 seconds before the shot. So in other words, they see him moving on the roof a little bit, and they know it's suspicious, so they start to, lock in here, and this is one of those moments where it's like you got to make a decision, right? It's like a split-second decision. Is this person an immediate threat to the president? Are they not? I'll give you one of my theories in a second here, by the way.
In recorded history into our country. And then the worst president in the history of our country took over, and look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Okay, so it says on the screen they did not take the shot. Well, that's not exactly true now, is it? Thomas Matthew Crooks got a shot off and hit Trump's ear, and then they immediately shot after they saw he shot, right? So it's not exactly right to say they did not take the shot. They did take a shot. It was just a split second too late, right? Now, having said that, again, Trump survived, hit his ear, and people are reading into this. The Secret Service is in on it. It's an inside job, right? It's an inside job. That's what a lot of people are interpreting from this. Now, what's my theory? Guys, as a general rule, always default more to incompetence rather than like malice, right? It is much more likely that we're dealing with incompetence than we are with some high-level, plot, and it's malicious, and they're part of a multi-layered conspiracy, right? Occam's razors, the simplest answer is always the most likely to be correct. In this instance, what's Occam's razor? Occam's razor is incompetence, right? Chaos going on. They're not exactly sure. Now, one of my theories, by the way, and this is something I said literally as soon as it happened, you could ask Crystal. I turned to her and I said, one of the problems at these events is that you have so many different levels of law enforcement and security. You have federal agents, you have state agents, you have local agents, you have the police. And in this instance, too, you had the police they were responsible for certain areas to guard them, right? And you had the Secret Service responsible for other areas. And, you know, at one point after Trump gets shot, somebody gets up there on stage. It's like a SWAT police officer or something too. It's massively, massively decentralized. It's not like you have one person who's the head of security, and that is literally all of the security. One person who's calling the shots and not only telling the Secret Service what to do, but also telling local police, state police, whatever other federal agents were on the scene. That's not the case. You have like Secret Service talking to other Secret Service, local police talking to other local police, state police talking to other state police, so on and so forth. And so you get these little factionalized pockets. And in a scenario like that, there can be confusion, right? So one of the reasons why maybe they didn't take the shot immediately is they didn't, hey, is that somebody who's with a different security force, right? Is that somebody who's with the feds or with whoever, right? Maybe it is. And that's, by the way, probably one of the main reasons why he was able to get as far as he did is, you know, people are looking like he's just one of the security people, right? And it turns out that's not true. Now, I'm going to give you some more insane facts, though. So, look, having said that, this is still not good. If it is incompetence, it's still horrible, right? Okay, then we get to this. Rumors are circulating that the Trump assassination attempt was an inside job after the release of this angle. Pay attention to what the Secret Service agent does seconds before. Okay, here we go.
To our country, probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Okay, so again, look here. So the Secret Service agent gets up. He points at, I think these are camera people, and he's telling them, hey, camera people, go over there, right? So he's moving the camera people, and then the shots ring out, and he gets down, and then the camera people, I think they start turning around and taking pictures. By the way, there's like a GoPro on one of the New York Times photographers, and it is amazing, amazing footage. But so what people are saying is the Secret Service guy knew that the assassin was going to shoot Trump, and he's telling the camera people to move to get into place so they can get a good angle when Trump gets assassinated, and they can get a good picture of it. That's what people are saying. If you knew an assassination was about to happen and you're in on it, wouldn't it be like the fishiest thing you could do? Hey, camera people, you should get into a better position so you can see the president's head get blown off. What's much more likely is they were just sitting behind the president, and for whatever reason, probably security reasons, it's like, hey, you can't sit here in front of the gate. Notice how they're in front of the gate. You can't sit here in front of the gate. You're going to have to move over there, right? Or people, they could have been told like, hey, something fishy's going on. You know, we got our eye on this person. We don't know exactly what's going on. And then because of that, he's like, all right, you should move, right? To just jump right to it's a conspiracy and they're in on it. And they were trying to get the photographers in place. And another point is, even if the photographers stayed where they were and took pictures, you don't think there would have been some legendary pictures taken from that perspective just behind him and to the right? That still is like an amazing angle. You're right there, right? So it's not the idea, go to this better angle. I don't know. This is what people do. The thing about conspiracies that can really hook people and bring them in is that if you're creative enough, you can make something sound incredibly persuasive and convincing, right? You can weave together a narrative that's like, that's it, we figured it out. But oftentimes these things fall apart under like a minimal amount of scrutiny, right? Okay, so that's another one we got for you. New footage shows the crowd spotting the shooter before Secret Service take action. Quote, he's got a gun, multiple people yell. Here we go.
And you know, that's a little bit...
He's got a gun!
Stay over here.
So now, by the way, this was not the only person who said he's got a gun, something's going on over there. There was somebody on BBC and somebody on, what was it, CBS or ABC? People who were like, I was there. I was trying to scream at the cops. I was trying to scream at Secret Service. He's got a gun, he's got a gun, he's got a gun. And nobody was able to act before he got the shot off. But again, like almost as soon as he got, like the second he got the shot off, pop, he was taken out, right? So even though there was an initial slight hesitation from the counter snipers, they did end up saving Trump's life effectively here. Because that guy could have been up there, for maybe he had 30 seconds to get off way more shots, right? And he didn't. As soon as he shot the first ones, they took him down. But yeah, the fact that you had all these people screaming, again, it smells to me like massive, massive incompetence, right? Okay, I got more. God, these never end. So by the way, everybody go follow this guy, journalist at BBC Verify. It's at Shayan86, Shayan 86. He does a great job. But here's some more conspiracies. So far I've been giving you the inside job one, Secret Service is in on it. I think it's much more likely that Secret Service is just massively incompetent. Remember, guys, there was a scandal years back where they were like in Colombia doing cocaine and all sorts of debauchery, and they're supposed to be professional, but really they're like a bunch of fucking idiot frat boys. So, all right, here's another conspiracy thought. It looks very staged. Sounds like a BB gun. Nobody in the crowd is running or panicking. Nobody in that crowd heard an actual gun. I don't trust it. I don't trust him. So, look, I'll admit, is this a thought that crossed my mind? Like, wait, I did think, why is nobody running? And why is it literally like a movie where it grazes his ear, bro? It sounds like something that could never happen in reality, right? It sounds like it could never happen in reality. It's so Hollywood-like that you're like, come on, really, really? But you have somebody who died and another person in critical condition. And we have all this information on the guy who did the shooting, and we're digging even deeper into it now. And, Trump seems genuinely traumatized by it because he almost died, and he fucking knows he almost died, right? So it's a thought that crossed my mind, but you just come out and say it? Like, God, you need so much more evidence. You would have to have ironclad evidence of like, hey, we found in Trump's pocket these blood pellets that you like bite on to make it look like you're bleeding, or, whatever. And by the way, there is a lane wide open right now for an Alex Jones of the left. As long as they're dishonest enough, they could pull this off, where they could weave a narrative that sounds so convincing that this was staged and Trump did it to try to make his poll numbers go up and to win the election, etc. But again, Occam's razor, it's not staged, bro. It's just not staged. I will agree that the lack of running behind him is like, what are you people doing, right? But then again, we are talking about MAGA here. Right? I know damn well if I was back there and I heard some shit, I'd be out that bitch. I'm Usain Bolting this motherfucker, bro. But anyway, so this is one of another conspiracy. Then we have this one here. Trump survives assassination attempt. Early suspects include Mossad. Look, I got no love for Mossad. Literally nobody is more critical of Israel than me. But can we wait until you get evidence of anything before people start having fucking verbal diarrhea? Or in this case, like typing diarrhea. All right. This shit gotta be staged. This image is too damn perfect. Laugh my ass off. Got the flag, position perfect, and everything. I mean, again, it is stranger than fiction. There's no doubt about that. But I think it's real. This is the price you pay when you take down elite satanic pedophiles. Just a few days ago, death threats against Donald Trump were posted on X without any consequence. This order most likely came from the CIA, possibly colluding with the following people: Alex Soros, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Mike Pence? What the fuck? All right. Now, again, I just want to give you like the final boss of this particular idea that it's all a hoax. Trump did it to get his poll numbers to go up and to win the election. This is some actress. And I'm not particularly picking on her. There's plenty of people who think this, but she just sort of summed it up. So listen to this.
That shit was most staged. The Tyler Perry production of Medea Runs for President. I lived in Harlem long enough to know that gunshots do not sound like making popcorn on the stove. Pop, pop, pop. Where'd the blood come from? So in theater, in movies, they have what's called blood pellets. They even, people use them in Halloween. It's basically like a pellet of fake blood that's in your mouth, and when you crush it, the blood comes out. To be frank, Small Hands Trump would not respond by raising his fist in the air triumphantly were an actual attempt made on his life. This was, I believe, done to try to show his strength counter to Biden's fragility.
If I didn't have principles, if I wasn't an honest person, if I was dishonest, I would have gone all in on this narrative and found little factoids to build my argument and make it sound like that. But here we are. Unfortunately, I am very honest and I'm very principled, and I do not have it in me to lie to you guys and be like, this was staged. Okay, this was the guy who posted a video like he was the shooter, but he's not. He just looks like the shooter, and he was trolling, and then, of course, he deleted it, but it went viral before he could do that. Laura Loomer and a bunch of other idiots were sharing it as if it was real. It is indeed not real. Oh, God, this is one of the craziest conspiracies here. The Secret Service sniper who hesitated was wearing a Talmudic Kabbalah bracelet. And then, of course, you know, you scroll through and there's all stuff on it. It's a Jewish cabal trying to kill Trump. Guys, it's just a fucking red bracelet. Like, it's just a red bracelet. Like, what are we doing here? A closer examination of the officer's left arm clearly reveals that what he is wearing bears no resemblance to the Kabbalah's red string, contrary to the allegations. Here's a zoomed-in version of the left arm. Here's the alleged Kabbalah red string. So let's actually look at this. This is my first time seeing this. So that's the zoom-in. Correct. It is more of a beaded bracelet, it kind of looks like here. Now, let me look at the other one. Here's the Kabbalah red string. Okay, yeah. So, has the internet just made everybody go fucking crazy? Like, so just because this dude is wearing a red bracelet, all of a sudden it's a Talmudic Kabbalah Jewish cult that's trying to take out Trump? Why? Like, why? Why would they try to take out Trump? And also, I'm sure, like, people would try to connect it to Israel. Like, Trump has given Israel everything. He did the Abraham Accords to say F you to the Palestinians. He moved the embassy to Jerusalem. He's already saying Biden's like a Palestinian and he's too mean to Israel, and I'll be nicer to Israel. I'll let them finish the job, right? So, anyway, all right. I'm sorry. I'm going to lose my mind in this fucking segment, man. So now here, remember I said in this segment, you're not only going to get conspiracies, you're going to get some things that are just very weird and sad facts. Look at this. And this is verified, by the way. A local police officer backed down. One local police officer climbed to the roof and encountered Crooks, who pointed his rifle at the officer. The officer retreated down the ladder, and Crooks quickly took a shot toward Trump. And that's when Secret Service snipers shot him, said the officials who spoke to the Associated Press on the condition of anonymity to discuss an ongoing investigation. So there was a local officer who climbed up the ladder, saw him, and then he pointed the rifle at the officer, and then the officer retreated. Now, here's the thing. This, to me, is more evidence of the officer being a bitch than it is of the officer being in on it, right? What's more likely? Like, cop with no courage and spine, or cop who's in a 14-level layered massive conspiracy in on getting Trump? No, I think it's much more likely the cop's just a bitch. And the other thing is, if I'm being kind to the cop, too, if you're climbing the ladder, and then when your head pops up, you see homie with the rifle pointed right at you, in your mind, you probably think, I don't have time while I'm on the ladder to grab the gun and then shoot him, right? Even if you have the gun on your hand, but you're climbing and you see him pointing right at you, it still takes time to go and aim, right? So he could have felt like, I got no chance in this Wild West shootout type thing, so I gotta go down. But at the same time, in a scenario like that, you would imagine, like, instantly, hey, fellow officers, go get him, right? And this is part of the problem. It is very likely that this particular local officer wasn't on the same, connection, didn't have the same headset, wasn't on the same frequency and wavelength as the Secret Service, so he couldn't say, we got a real threat here, fire away, right? He couldn't say that. It's also possible he climbed up and he thought for a second, oh, there's another security guy. I tend to doubt that now based on everybody screaming, oh, look, there's a guy, right? I mean, that probably went on for a minute. That people are screaming, oh, there's a guy, he's got a gun, et cetera, et cetera. So I think the most likely scenario is he's a little bitch, and he felt like he didn't have time to get his gun and shoot the guy. But at the very least, you got to go crazy and start screaming at other police officers or screaming at the Secret Service, take the shot, take the shot, take the shot. And by the way, we'll learn, maybe he did do that and it was still too late. Because if he gets a gun pointed at him, the officer does, and then Crooks turns around and just takes the shots immediately at Trump. I mean, you only need, 3 or 4 seconds to set the shot up? And he can get it off. And again, almost the second Crooks gets the shots off, then his head explodes. And by the way, I think the counter sniper shot him from like 400 yards or something crazy like that, right? Which is good ass shot. Good ass shot. But I think that's all I got for you with the conspiracies. Oh, wrong. I got a couple more. This segment never ends. I guess the Secret Service agents didn't just notice a ladder leading to a roof 150 feet away from Trump. Inside job. So it's true, there is a ladder here. Now, I don't know when this picture was taken, but let's just assume for argument's sake it was taken just before the event. Again, if I'm Secret Service, I'm looking at that and thinking, oh, this is the local police did that because this is their area that they're supposed to check on. And if I'm the local police, I might look at that and say, oh, probably Secret Service did that because they were checking this area as well. So it's very easy through the decentralization and the different layers of security and law enforcement that you just sort of pass the buck to the others. Oh, it's got to be that, right? Nobody's thinking there's a plot right under our fucking noses to assassinate the president, right? So, and then what else do I got for y'all? Okay, this is the last one. One other nice little conspiracy to throw at you. Oh, I don't know if this is a conspiracy as much as it's just being an idiot. But one of the conservative talking points coming out of this is the fault of DEI. Why? Because there's some pictures of like some female Secret Service agents, and one of them is like sort of crouching down and maybe away from the pack and not covering Trump and looking scared or something. And they're going all in. Guys, just fucking say. Like, just say the thing. Don't cloak it in this fucking acronym and this terminology. Just come out and say, I don't think women should have security positions. Just say it. If you believe that, own that fucking position. Just say it. Don't give me this bullshit, this tap dance around it. DEI is the problem. That's their way of saying minorities and women need not apply, right? If you don't think they should have security jobs, grow a fucking spine and some balls and say, I don't think women and people of color should be able to have security jobs, instead of doing DEI, DEI, DEI. It's their fucking buzzword, just like CRT and wokeness and whatever other dumb shit they hammer into the ground for a year and a half before they move on to the next dumb thing. All right, listen.
What does DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, have to do? Was it the best agents, or was it DEI that placed those agents there? I hate to say it. I saw some agents that looked like they didn't have a clue.
All right, there you go. There you go. So look, the most likely scenario, of course, is massive incompetence and a lack of communication between the various levels of police forces there and the Secret Service and the federal agents, etc. That's the most likely scenario. And always what you see, whether it's a mass shooting or a terror attack or something like this, there's always going to be in the moment a narrative you can weave by poking holes in arguments and pointing out things that this doesn't really go with this. And idiots will take that and run to the conclusions, extrapolate to insane conclusions, right? And that's what's happening now. That's unfortunately what's always going to happen. Social media probably made it worse because these theories can spread more far and wide, but I wanted to walk you through some of it so at least you get a sense of what some people are saying. Just remember, I'll end on this point. Some of the things are absolutely devastating and true, right? Some of these are just plain idiotic conspiracy theories, like the Chinese are to blame. But some of them are, they seem a little conspiratorial, and maybe they are. And there needs to be a little bit more investigation, right? Like, I'm not saying don't look into anything further. I want you to study every nook and cranny of this and get to the real answers, get to the right answers, but don't jump to conclusions and use evidence for everything, right? But some of this stuff is devastating and really condemnable. Like an officer basically seeing him and then retreating. I mean, that's just totally unforgivable, but there you have it. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.